Yes, gang, take two. Welcome back to the Reece podcast, and we are moving into episode 15 with Liverpool's own Craig Cavanagh. Just want to say, first of all, massive thank you for coming on and being here, and an even bigger thank you for bringing me your new aftershave. It smells unreal, by the way. So tell me a little bit about where the idea for this come from.
So L1 Sense, he's got JD Testing, and L1 Sense was his first company. They used to do aftershaves. They used to do car smells, and he asked me to promote them, and I was like, I haven't really got a car, so I put them in my wardrobe. And
Does that actually work?
It did. So you turn upside down, and all my clothes would smell like whatever he sent me. So then people were doing it, and I was like, listen, lads, so I need to do your own aftershave. He was like, oh, it's in production. So he's done all these inspired aftershaves. It's been massively successful, and I've worked with him on off for years. Really good mate of mine. Been on holiday loads of times. I'm just thinking to say hi, hi John, one of them like hi. So then he said, why didn't you do your own with me? And I was like, well, okay. So we sat down, made a couple of we had a couple of ideas of where he wants to go with it, and he was like, well, it is yours, you go with it. So then we made one batch, and it was lovely, but it was a bit too sweet, and then we just got the right one with this one, and it's actually doing quite well. So called it Cav because obviously that's my name. But he wrote a really good I can't even remember what it says now. It says something like bold to be bold, stand out, and so I can't even remember now, but he's a really good word, and yeah, I think he knows because I'm a crank.
Well, massive shout out to him, and if you haven't seen it already, I'd recommend to get on it because it smells fantastic.
Yes.
So for me, like, this podcast has always been about like being yourself, and like kind of the journey that I've been on the past, like, say 4 years, but mostly for the past 6 months, has been mostly for me about trying to understand myself and about being able to showcase the authenticity of myself and the people around me. And I want to tell people stories of how they got to the point of being able to be their true self and how they can live within that. And for you, obviously, you were in the podcasting world for a while, and there's a season 2 coming. I was very interested in how you come across and how well the clips looked, and I wanted to understand a little bit more about the podcast and where the idea for that came from, and what do we expect to see in the second season.
Well, you're going to be in the second season, 100%. I've got to have Liverpool's own action man, like, on it, haven't I? You do actually look like action man. Like, I'm very intimidated because like I thought I looked good, and then I seen your Instagram, and I was like, damn. I mean, he is 24, and like I'm not 24, but I was like, oh, I hate him, but in the most like respectful way, you know what I mean, like admiration way. So yeah, for me, the podcast. Just going back to the question you asked, I go off on a tangent. Just always pull me back because I'm terrible for it. The idea came up because it was just a play on words, champagne and caviar, which I've never tasted. It just looks like seagulls shitting on someone's shoulder. But I wanted to. I spelt it CHAM and then the word pain because I wanted to do the pain from power process, and really go through the story of the arc of like where people have came from, like a couple of like Anthony Fowler for one. I love Anthony Fowler. I had him on, and you know he has a really tough upbringing, and look at where he is now. But then it's people like who've succeeded in life, had a downfall, and came back. I always like to go right back to the start, see what makes them tick. I like to follow the money trail and really like investigative like that. I think every scouser is really though, and see why. What happened to them, or what made them be the person that could bounce back like that. So I did have Joe Cordino. It's been predominantly boxers because I've never been into footy. Like obviously I'm gay, but I've never even like footy players, like anything like that. It's just not my thing. I've got a mad respect for boxing because I used to train with the lads in Kirby ABC. Shout out to Dave Kenny and all the lads. Nick Ball was there at the same time. And I still speak to most of them lads now. You know, I had a really good relationship.
Would you say
with
for
them.
you then the reason why you have an admiration for them is because you know how hard that sport actually is?
I consider them an athlete too, and that was the point I was making. Like Joe Cordino, I've admired him. We followed each other years ago, and before he even like was like matey with him, like we were like mates now. He'd always so supportive. Anything I posted, and he just shoot me a message, and we hadn't even met. We'd like spoke on DMs a couple of times, and sweetest guy in the world, and I just had this massive admiration for him. So I obviously wanted him on. Anthony Fowler's a really good friend of mine. I get him on, but the sport in itself is, I just think the athleticism in it is alone is just crazy. It's a bit like, so the saying where it says rugby players run around the pitch pretending not to be here for 90 minutes, and footy players run around pretending to be here for 90 minutes. And I remember seeing that, and I was just like, and it was what made me think, so like rugby and boxing is probably, they're up there with like a massive respect. So it made sense for me to get guests on like that. I had Dean Garner on, another guy who I've known for a long time. And
wait till you try CrossFit.
oh, do you know what? He's trying to get me into CrossFit, and I'm not gonna lie. I don't know. It's not even that like I'm a princess or not, and it's just I just feel like I die on it. I'm not. I don't know.
A lot of people have fear around it, and I think that is something that we, as like a brand, probably need to investigate, because everything is adaptable and scalable to where you're currently at. So yeah, it's difficult and yeah, it's hard, but there's so much beauty in doing difficult and hard things. It's like boxing. It's a lonely road. It's a lonely sport. You're in there. You're facing that barber. You're facing that machine. And I think, when you're speaking about admiration for boxers, for me, the reason why I have admiration for them more than like football players or rugby players is because of the sheer inner strength that person needs to have on that lonely journey. Life's a lonely journey as well. And so I think that's why, like for me, CrossFit was such an amazing way for me to be able to work on myself, because I'm there alone in the gym doing this hard thing. No one can save me. It's only me and my soul that can save me in that moment. And I think it's the same with boxing, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, looking back now, when I look back at the S&C classes that I was always on a Wednesday. If correct me if I'm wrong, if Dave Kenny ever sees this, so I was on a Wednesday, and like that was hard the first week I'd done it, and then one week all the lads lied down and they were dying, and Dave was like, Craig's still going, and you're letting a gay lad, and it was just like a boss environment. And now looking back at it, probably them S&C classes like probably correlate a bit with CrossFit
Massively.
So I'd probably muscle memory could kick in, or a heart attack, cardiac arrest, which either or.
Well, I hope not.
But so do I. I'd like to think that I've been treating my body well enough for it not to do that. But yeah, I'm the same as you. I just feel like the admiration. It's like a bit like you. It's a bit like yourself with the. I just rewinding back. I met Reece earlier. I seen his logo, and I'm obsessed with the moon. I love the moon, and the full moon logo with the wolf on it. And I think that could be a logo for any boxer, because it's, you get in there and it's like, all you can hear is your heart beating. You can feel the sweat, you can feel every drip coming down. It must be the scariest place in the world, but the most invigorating, because you're like, it's fight or flight. It's like, it's him or me. So yeah, I've got mad respect for them.
Me too. So what does season 2 look like when it comes about?
Season 2's looking very fruitful. It's going to be a different light now, because although I got half canes on the last series with the guests, I'm not going to be drinking as much, but it's going to be more, I don't really want to say too much. It's going to be more game led, this one. But I've got to wait for these two other projects to know the recording date of these other two. I'll be able to tell you a lot about one and a bit about the other, but until I know the recording date, one starts in August and one starts in September, I'm not going to know when I'm going to place the season 2. And I actually don't know where it's going to be, but I've actually got the equipment now. So a friend of mine, Leon, he gave me like, I only need a camera, so I might just be like one of them, too posh to push princesses, and get someone to come in and record it. But I've got everything else. But and I might do it in different locations. I might do it in live audience.
I think that would be very cool. Yeah,
because I'm all over the place. It just makes sense. Like, just pop it up wherever it's going to be, or like, you know what I mean. Like, I'm always in the city centre, so it could be anywhere. It could be on the Daffodil. It could be anywhere. So it might be good to do that. But I've got a couple of guests lined up. You're definitely one of them. But there's a couple of where people will be like, "Oh, you got him in," and I'm like, "Yeah." And here actually, but yeah,
I'm really excited for season 2, and I'm excited to see the journey it goes on for you. So
as long as we can do a wolf sounds,
of course we can.
That might actually be a good clip to do at the end. Yeah. Oh, both of us doing that'd be quite funny. So go on.
That could be our content for today. To be fair, announcing the podcast.
But let's do it.
I love it.
You hear copyright.
So I want to start off with this and say well done first of all on being 30 days sober.
Today with you.
Oh wow.
Ching.
Cheers on our waters.
Yes, aqua.
So I want to understand what inspired the change and what inspired the want and need to go sober.
Well, I remember I had a couple of throat operations like year after year, 2016 to 2018, which I can tell you about in a bit. But I do remember having to do 6 months sober while they figured out like what was going on. And I can tell anyway. So fast forward, and it was like probably the most healthy time of my life, and that was when I noticed that I'd just gone into fitness, and I just thought it was the fitness, but I didn't think it was. It was the most clarity I've ever had. So fast forward into now, I did want to do it in January, and then I had a rough January, and it was a rough one. Like I didn't know whether I was coming or going. I just left Blackstock. Things were up in the air, and you know when you just like have one of them moments where you go, oh my God, like you have imposter syndrome about nothing. You know, do you understand?
Yeah.
And I didn't quit, and I was determined to quit in January, even just for 3 months. So then I started working in the client was me Daffodil. Started working at the Daffodil. They were my clients because I'm a consultant now, and I done 2 events in 1 week. So it was like 10 days. I think I done one on the Tuesday and one on the Saturday, and I didn't even stay out that late. I got home at like 3 o'clock, and I had a hangover for 3 days. Now normally my hangover's a day and a half, and then I went out on the Saturday to James Boulder Foundation with Philip Olivier and his family and friends, and I had another 3-day hangover. And I remember looking, my training was like fucked. Sorry, I can swear, can't I?
Unfiltered.
My training was fucked. My coach was like, "Are you all right?" And I was like, I thought I was like sick, because I was like, "How can I be this sick?" And I looked at it and I was like, "I've lost 6 days out of 10," and I was like, "There's one thing I hate losing is time. Like I'm such a planner ahead. Like if
time's so precious though.
Honestly, and obviously like I don't acknowledge my age, because like I just feel like like even when I say someone says like how old are you? I don't know, say how young are you? You're already putting into your head that you're dying. So I try and like steer away from time and try and look after myself, because I'm a cougar now. And I just looked at that waste of time and I was like, my training was fucked. Like was it worth it? And I just don't even like the way I feel when I used to love the feeling of being drunk. I used to love it. I used to love going out drinking, and I think I was more scared of losing the people around me in the social aspect rather than quitting the drinking. And I just went, that's it. So on the 4th, I just quit. I said, I'm not drinking again, and I really mean that, ever. And my mum was like, oh no, we can just have a little break from it. And I was like, no, I just don't want to drink. It's not saving me anything anymore. In fact, I don't think it ever did. I think I was giving it more than it was giving me. Like I was giving it precious time of my life, and you know, things like where you'd be hungover and you wouldn't do a certain thing, or you wouldn't start a certain project, or you wouldn't have that burst of creativity that you'd have normally sometimes when you're just sitting on your own. Because I was hungover watching Netflix, like ordering Domino's or whatever eventuality it was.
You just lose so much time during them periods. Like even one day, imagine the amount of work that you can get done within that 12 hours of being awake that we are losing by being in bed or being on the couch or not being 100% present in the things that we have to do. And for you, I don't know about, but for me, I don't know if it's the same for you. I believe that my soul knows when it's time to change, and I can keep consciously telling myself it's time to change, but that feeling always comes from within. You just know when you need to make that move. You just know when you need to make that shift. And maybe for you now, being 30 days in, that shift may have occurred, and it may have took this long to get to that point.
It did. You know, it's for me, like it something just clicked, and I was just like, I'm totally done with it. Like, and I think for years I've sort of, now I'm like, I'm not going to dwell on it, because I'm one of them. Oh my God, I've messed up so many times. All that time I've wasted. Like I can't think of it like that. I'm just like, oh my God, how much time I'm going to get back? Like now. So like within 30 days, I have 5 events last week. I didn't once even want to drink, and I was probably the last one there on a couple of them. My productivity is completely changed, and you know, all these good things get happen. Like there's so much good that's happened in the past 30 days, and I'm like, this feeling now is worth more than any of them. And if there's people around me that I don't socialise with anymore, I don't think it's going to be a loss, because then obviously if they were only there when I socialised and drank with them, then that wasn't real. So I think for me it was like the FOMO and like that kind of fear of like not having the same people around me or not being invited to places, and it hasn't been the case. So I think I was just overthinking.
You've got that real life data from that past 30 days to show that you were actually so much better without it.
And working in hospitality, mate, it's there all the time. Like, it's a rite of passage. You look weird if you don't drink.
For
You know,
sure.
you know what I mean? And it's like,
Was it just drink for you, or you're also drugs?
oh God. I mean, I've tried to. I mean, I used to be an Ibiza goer. I
Never
used
got back.
well, I used to go to Ibiza like 3 times a year, and you know, and being in that events and hospitality life, it's like, I don't knock anyone. Like, you know, it happens. Like, it's all your own choice, and you know, you choose to waste your own time, or you choose to part. And I've had some of the best times in the world, but I've also had some of the lowest, drinking and not drinking, or partying and not partying. So it's quite enlightening to look back at it now. I mean, even you just bringing it up now, like, obviously it's been on my mind. It's like, oh my God, it's 30 days today. It's been on my mind all day. But I haven't really just looked at the enormity of it until like this second has gone, wow.
It's a big decision to make, especially like in your industry when it's literally in front of you all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That shows the position that you are in with it and the level of strength that you built to be able to get to that point. So well done, you, mate.
I mean, thank you so much. I mean, I imagine trying to learn lines and like try and learn a part, or write concepts for someone, and then plan stuff like when I'm hanging out my ass, you know. And it's been so nice not to, like, I this morning, true story, walked the gym fuming. They never sent out that it's going to be bank holiday hours, so I went there at 6 o'clock. I was like, boom, it was closed. I walked past Heaven, and there was people outside, and I just looked and I thought, oh my God, like, good luck to you, because like I just I don't know, I cannot think of anything worse now than doing that. Then obviously went back home, washed my bag in, fuming, walked past, and there's still people down the G bar street, and you know what, I hope they have the best day and the best time, but it's like I just couldn't think of anything. I just shuddered, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad that I am not in that way of thinking, or that way of life.
It's mad,
anymore.
isn't it? It's mad, but that just shows growth though. And I think for me especially, I want to be able to see growth in most areas of my life, and for you, being able to give up a habit and a pattern like that is obviously being a partier for so long, it shows growth. So just well done.
Oh, thank you so much, mate. It means a lot.
So
may the 4th be with you for the rest of this sobriety life.
So you talk about being your authentic self, just like I do. What did that journey look like for you?
The authentic bit?
Being able to get to that point?
I mean, I knew I was gay my whole life. Like, from my earliest memory, I knew. And I think I lived a double life until I was like 16-ish when I came out. And I actually I went with girls, and just to prove that I wasn't gay, but I was. And I don't think even when I came out, I don't think I was me authentic self then. I think even though I came out, I hadn't addressed like other issues that you have in your life, like things that just don't make sense, or you just don't feel like you in your own skin, even though everyone around you loves you and everyone knows you, everyone who matters. Do you know what I mean? Not like
it's about the love for yourself, though, isn't it?
And it wasn't until like my dad passed when I was like 30, and which I was like, just after I was 30, and I didn't think I was old enough or man enough to be, because I'm the oldest child. I didn't think I was like to be like the man of the family, if you will. And it wasn't until like he'd passed when I was like, it was around 32, between 32 and 35 is when I was like, oh shit, this is who I am. Like, that's who I am. And I'd never felt that comfy in my own skin. And I think it was about stepping forward and acknowledging my own faults, my own adversities, if you will, because I'm very non-conformity. Like, I've always been like, someone says something, I go, can you just hold, like, while I just, you know, do my own like thing about it, because I don't believe anyone. Like, I like to do things my own way, and I've loved my own company, and I'm very much in my own mind. Like, I want to see proof. Like, if you say ABC, I want to see how you got to that, or 1, 2, 3, whatever you want to call it. And I honestly don't think, if my dad wouldn't have passed away, I don't think I would have been, I don't think I would have took that leap and actually addressed everything in my own head and became
who you are
Craig
now.
you have today.
Do you think then you maybe repressed and suppressed a lot of stuff? I mean, a lot of us do, but obviously, like obviously being gay and that in itself comes with so many for me it did personally. It's come with so many difficulties and so much suppressed and repressed emotion and internal homophobia from things that I'd seen from being around.
Okay.
Well, I'm bi, yeah.
I had no fucking
Did you not
idea.
know?
No idea.
Yeah. So I spoke about it on probably my 8th podcast on me. I only came out in January.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
I
thank you
had
very much.
no idea.
Yeah.
I had none at all. Okay.
and that obviously, for me, like, most people don't. And I think for me, I couldn't accept it because I didn't fit what... You could say, obviously, that stereotypical view, or I'd never had them thought processes until I was 20. So my whole life I've been obviously with girls. I always thought I was straight, and then I started getting these feelings towards boys, and then it got stronger and stronger and stronger to a point where it set me into a massive downfall. And I struggled a lot with it. Didn't want to be it anymore, and then I've only really come to terms the past 6 to 9 months. And then obviously someone's come into my life now. It's made it all worth it.
Love that.
So for me, I always like to understand what other people's journeys have been like, because for me, not knowing until I was 20 it was like a massive rebirth, but a rebirth which meant burning off all the layers of that identity that I built for myself. So from your point of view, and obviously you knew, but then you still said you couldn't step into yourself until you were like 30, 32. Do you think you pushed a lot of stuff down?
Yeah, I just felt like there was no one understood like me. Like I've always been very creative, and I feel like every role I went in the job, they always tried to like stifle my character, or like tell me like, oh, you can't say these things, you can't say it. But I was like, no, like say if I correct a manager and I was in the right, that was frowned upon. I'm like, well, no, isn't. You're always harping on about constructive criticism, so I always had an answer back, and it wasn't that I had an answer for everything. It was just like, well, make it make sense. So nowhere I've ever felt like really safe. Like I don't think I ever felt like a part of anything until really later in life. Like I just kind of didn't fit in here, I didn't fit in there. Like the gay circles that I haven't really got that many gay mates. All my lab mates are straight. Any gay circles I didn't fit in because I wasn't quite that gay as them, and then there was do you know what I mean? There was never anywhere I kind of fitted in fully, and it wasn't until like I really feel like I did become a man after my dad like passed away, and I feel like that was when I addressed everything, and then I was like, fuck it. Who gives a fuck if you don't fit in? Because it wasn't about fitting in. It was just about finding your tribe. Because I feel like, although I was as independent as I am, it is nice to have a not connection,
a support
but
network.
Yeah, someone like an ally, like someone who you're aligned with.
You don't align with that person until you become your true self.
Exactly.
That's why maybe for so long you found it difficult to find that tribe, because you deep down wasn't being who you was, so you only attracting fakeness because you were still being fake to yourself.
This is why he's got a podcast called Reece of Mind. I couldn't agree more. That's exactly why I think it was, and yeah.
Isn't it interesting in grief though? Like, as sad and as difficult and as heartbreaking that it is, and it always still will be, that suffering that it brings, it can be a humongous teacher. And it can be the biggest teacher, because what it does is it puts everything into perspective for you, and it actually makes you realise where you're putting your attention and how much the stuff that the things that you're putting your attention on doesn't actually fucking matter. And I think that's what like I've realised from obviously speaking to people who've been through like a lot of similar situations, how grief affected them. Like, it's such a teacher.
It's like when you've just said then about it being a teacher, and like and along that type of thing. For me, it was like everything my dad... So I've got a tattoo there on my neck, which it is what it is. My dad used to always say it all the time. So say there'd be murder in the house, like someone's always having murder, and he'd go, it is what it is. And I'd be like, I used to hate it because it was such an argument ending. I'd be like, oh, I hate that. As soon as he passed away, every bit of knowledge came back to me, and I was like, I know what to do. I know how to navigate life. And like, I don't want to get upset about it, but it's like, and the way you were saying it was a teacher, it was like everything that said just sort of, it was like, you know, on the Matrix where it's like all them weird letters and it's a green and black screen. It just all went in, and I was like, whoa.
It's what it is.
And that's exactly, when you've just said that teacher thing, that's exactly what happened. All the things that you'd say to your mum and dad, like, don't, or you just blank them and you don't want to listen to them. It all came back, and then that's what made me change, I think.
I think what you said about is what it is. it's full acceptance, because what's happening in the material world, what's happening right in front of us, we actually haven't got control over that. We've only got control over our reaction, our actions towards what's going on. I read the book like 3 times called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Very, very deep book, but a lot of that is about accepting the now, accepting the reality that we're in, and being able to not be moved by what's happening in front of us, and only being able to accept and process the situation internally, and not allowing it to affect the internal state. And it's a very different, it's probably the deepest thing that we can possibly do. That's what enlightenment is. It's full acceptance of everything and now and is what it is.
I need to get that book, I think.
It's amazing, honestly. And Eve's got 2 other books, New Earth and Practicing the Power of Now. It's difficult and it's hard to understand, but what that can do for your reality, it's unbelievable. And I would recommend that to every single listener. And I have done in previous podcasts. But yeah, it's so interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you've just probably picked a hole in my brain in a good way. I like when that happens, because then when you sew back up, like the way I always see it is, when someone asks you a question you can't answer, it puts a hole in your brain, and the information somewhere in your mind, you sew it back together, and it's like it's somewhere, and then it goes into the hole. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, of course it does.
Or am I just talking?
No, it makes sense.
Because like, in my thought process, I always see it like, taffy, when you pull it apart. That's the way I see thoughts. They're just getting pulled apart constantly. And you've picked a couple of holes in my brain, and I've refilled them in, because now it just loads of things have made sense. So yeah, thank you for that.
No problem at all. So you've worn a lot of hats in your time, from what I've seen: hospitality, music. What connects all those parts of your life with everything that you've done?
Funny you should ask that. I had this conversation with someone the other day, and for me, I've always, so when I was a kid, my mum said I was always wanted to be centre of attention, and I think that's when you like that and you want the limelight, and it's really good lighting in here, by the way. I like that, and it's better when it emanates rather than overhead. Overhead lighting's abusive, but anyway. So when I was a kid, there was always like something missing, and I think you'd always strive for attention in that way, and you'd always want someone to look at you, and you want someone to adorn you, because there's something obviously missing in you. So when I used to always reenact stuff on the telly, and like I'd always be entertained, like, no, this, that, and the other. So they had a psychic come to my nan's house. I think I was 4. And I was like entertaining everyone, and this psychic was really good, by the way, but they thought she was chatting shit because she said someone was spiking a drink. Well, no, it was me. I was going around and like entertaining everyone, distracting them, and pouring vodka in everyone's cup of tea. So I was always meant to get people pissed. That's why I was in hospitality. But I've always been a performer. So I think like hospitality is one big performance. You've got to look after people. You've got to look the part. And you've got to swan around, and you've got to run around like a madman. And music for me was a big escape. Although it was a performance, I've always been a songwriter. Like a songwriter and singer first. I hate performing, and it's only because I'm not much of a perfectionist. I think of what can go wrong before it goes wrong.
So I always manifest on into your experience.
Yeah.
Then.
So I get really nervous, and plus because I like to write my own stuff. It's such a personal thing. Like even though I'm dead honest, like I'm not with you now, and blah blah blah, and I'm very vocal. My music is very vulnerable. I don't know if you've heard any of it. It's like, it's not like the way you would think my personality is. People like go, oh, I would have imagined you to do some like really like electro pop thing, and I'm like, no, it's really stripped back, and I'm like very good with layering and harmonies, but I'm a really intricate writer, but I can't play anything. So I get a melody in my head, I'll write the lyric, and from that I will then sing it to someone who can play, someone who's talented, and so I can't write anything. So music's always been my outlet. So it's a very personal thing to me. So I love the body of work and showing it, but the thought of like performing that, it's very all creative. It's all linked creatively. It's like the concept I've done in bars, the songs I've wrote, being on stage, doing podcasts. It's all part of just.
It's a creative expression. It's a creative expression.
That's exactly what it is, and that's my outlet. Like like I could sit there now. Some people like. I've been to like venues, and we sat down at a meeting, and they've gone, it's called this, and that, and I've just sat there and I've gone, why don't we do this concept, because that goes with that colour and this will work, and then we do this entertainment and all that, and they're like, how do you do that? And I'm like, I actually don't know, but it's me passion, like, and for years, right, it was like, oh, you need to get a proper job, you need to do this, you need to do that, you can't think in this line, you can't do that, and I'm like, the more they said I can't, the more I've done it, and I think the creative and the being in the limelight, I think that's what ties them all together in one go. I think I answered that like in about 20 different ways, but
I loved it.
Did you actually follow what I said?
Of course I did.
Well done.
What does freedom mean to you then? Because you mentioned then about people telling you can't, you need to get a real job. I mean, I've never had a real job in my life. What does freedom mean to you?
Freedom, well, it's only been recent. Like, freedom for me is now. Like, I am a consultant now, so I do hospitality events, and I work on my terms. I still work me out. Like, I put a graft in. I can probably do a full-time job in 2 days. Like, and I've always been like that. So, but it's on my terms, you know. And I think people have always like tried to clip me wings and what's the word?
Dim your lights.
Not let me flex my creative muscle, if you will. Did you like that one?
I love that.
And so I feel like now is probably the most free I've ever been in my life. Like, there's no restrictions on what I can what I can and can't do now. And you know, all the stuff I've got coming up now, I just wouldn't have been able to do it if I still worked in Blackstock, you know, full-time job. You know, I wouldn't have been able to take any of the opportunities I've recently been taking. Like, we done the on the Daffodil, my first week there, we done the City as Ours rap party for season 2, and in walked in Robbie O'Neill. Hi Robbie, I haven't seen him since Acton College. He wrote the 5th episode. James, you know, the main character. I've known him for years. Everyone was like, how do you know him? I was like, I've known him since like Ink Bar days. And then John May was there, Ultra Beat was there, George. There were so many people there that I knew, and I was just like, this is like, I can't believe I went back to it, because I was a consultant for 18 months before I went to Blackstock. I went there to do the Samba Soiree, rooftop party, and the sunset, which was sold out every week, by the way. And I went there to do that, and then they were like, come on as venue manager, and I didn't want to, and then I did, and I think that was a big mistake. The venue's amazing, by the way. I don't regret taking the venue, and I love the brands, the brands themselves. Obviously, Hot Water Comedy is probably the most famous comedy club in the world. But I regret not staying as a consultant. I only done it because obviously I'd known them for years, so I felt like safe. But I should have stayed as a consultant, because going to that rap party and seeing everyone, and obviously I just got the part, and that we'll probably speak about it in a bit. I've been offered that part, and these are the projects, and I wouldn't have been able to take any of them if I still worked in that full-time job. And I remember just being in the party, looking around, and I was like, yeah, I've made the right, and I just felt free. Like, I felt like, oh my God, this is Craigy's time, you know what I mean?
I think someone with the type of personality that you've got on the edge, that you've got.
Which personality?
I've
got about 5.
I'd say for me, the energy that you give off then is of a free soul, and a free soul can't be tied down to a workplace. I fully believe, and that's maybe the reason why you had to learn all them lessons about.
Do you
the
think
reason
you're
why
like that as well?
I'm a free soul, 100%. I mean, I've only ever worked for one person once when I lived over in Dubai, and I was coaching over there, and that was a calamity and a disaster. And then ever since then, I've worked for myself, and I was very lucky, me, to be able to learn that at a young age. That I hate being told what to do. I hate being like I hate to have to conform. And I was that person again who always questions everything and always did things my way, regardless of if the people around me wanted to do that thing. And that's worked out well for me so far. And that's why when I meet people with similar energies,
that's why I was so drawn to your logo. As soon as I walked in, and the first thing I seen, like I said hello to, I can't remember it. I'm so bad with names
John.
first time. Sorry, John. I walked in and seen the logo, and I was like, it just resonated with me. And then when you told me why you'd done it, it kind of made sense. So isn't it mad the way one thing you can go, oh my God, he's got the same. He thinks the same way as me.
For sure, and I think that's why, I mean, I believe nothing's a coincidence in this universe. Everything happens exactly the way it's supposed to, and you meet people for a specific reason. And like, I'm really loving this conversation, I must say.
I am as well. And you know what? Like, he could possibly be the only person on this planet to get me to do CrossFit at least twice. So well done for that. No, I just want to say, do you know what? Walking around the establishment. Wow, that was a big word, Craig, for Bank Holiday Monday. Walking around and just seeing your accomplishments and your stuff all across the walls, and I just don't know if anyone's ever said that to you, but like, well done to you, mate.
Oh,
you know,
thank you.
No, let's say like you should get down here. Like it's just like it just pays homage. So like it's a homage or homage. Because if I say homage, I feel like I'm saying a gay person. I mean, I am a gay person, so I can do what I want. But it's just it's so good to see your accolades on the wall. I just think it's really tasteful, and I like the colouring as well. It's very cool and calming. Did you do that on purpose?
For sure.
Yeah, see, I knew. I'm loving the conversation too, by the way.
But branding's very, very important, isn't it? Especially, like I said to you earlier on, for me, when I always thought about business, I always want to think about where we're going to be in 10 years' time, and can you see that brand across a billboard, and can you see that brand in multiple different areas?
Yeah.
And for us, we could, and I think I definitely still can, and that's the reason why, obviously, every single day you be consistent. And for us as well, like, what we do helps so many people. It's a community, it's a massive community, and people come here to work on themselves, and people use it as an avenue to make themselves feel better. And that's probably for me, the most proud achievement about the gym is the support that we are able to give people on a daily, and the support the training gives people. So speaking of fitness, you are massively into your fitness.
Yes.
Tell me how that journey started. Is that something that you've always done, or was there a specific moment in your life where you needed it?
I mean, yeah. So when I was a kid, I'd done gymnastics. I've always been like really slim and toned. I've never had a problem with weight. I actually had a problem putting weight on, and no matter how much I ate. And I remember getting to like, I think it was my late 20s, and it was just after I'd been on MTV Unsigned, and life was going really good. And then my dad got sick shortly after, and I remember just going. I was eating Indians like every other night, or takeaways, red wine, I like literally every night. And I can't even remember the point when my clothes started feeling tight. And then I remember when he passed, and I remember looking at, I had a skinhead everything at the time, like anyway. And I remember looking in the mirror, and I was like, what the fuck is that, you know? And I think I said it at the British Fitness Awards when I won an award, and I was like, I remember looking, going, lad, you need to get out the biscuit tin. And it made me laugh saying it to myself in the mirror. And that's what changed. I mean, I'd done KBABC just before MTV Unsigned. Sorry, I just skipped ahead there. So I'd been to KBABC, was training with them, and you know, I really kept fit then. I didn't fight or anything, but I just trained with the lads. And it was after that when he passed away, that I was like, I need to sort myself out here. So I went to the gym, and I didn't want to weight train. I was just like, I'm gonna do more cardio, yoga, and training to tone everything up. I want to get every bit of fat off me, because it was just like, I want everything yesterday. So I was like, I didn't do it a fad way. I done it the proper way, but I just done a calorie deficit. I didn't weight train anything. I just wanted the fat off me, just to see what my body looked like and where I needed to add in. Probably should have just worked with what was on me, but you know, when you just want something off, and it's like, it was like I needed to shed the skin. I needed to just like say, get the fuck out, you know, to that part of me. I felt like it was a weight on me that was more corporeal in an emotional way than it was in a. Does that make sense?
It's a very good way to be able to shed the layers, though, because you literally change the way that you look. In essence, you can step into a completely new version of you by just changing the way that your body looks. I think people underestimate how, obviously, people know how important training can be, but if you're in a certain situation, or you become someone that you don't want to be, you can change that through exercise massively by changing and sculpting your body. And I think it does definitely help. Would you say that time in your life was a rock bottom moment?
I mean, it was one of it was more of an emotional rock bottom moment, but I just didn't. I just, in my head, it was like, the emotions are tied to this weight, so I want the weight off to deal with the emotion. I had no idea how much of a clear headspace and a clear pathway it would lead for me. I remember losing the weight, and I was working in Ink at the time. It's probably one of my favourite places I've ever worked. And I remember me followers shooting up, because it wasn't just that I was looking better, which I actually was. I'm not being like big as I was looking physically fitter. I just remember looking at pictures, and I'm like, started seeing a glow in myself, and I was like, whoa, my headspace was different. I was still like, obviously eating. I had a cheat day, or like, you know, if I ever felt like chocolate on a day, I'd have a piece of chocolate. I just wouldn't, you know, overindulge. I'd still go out and have a bevy, but I remember looking and thinking, oh my god, is this what happiness looks like? And then I was obsessed with it. Then it was like training 5 times a week. I got with a coach. I actually at one point was going to compete, but in bodybuilding, but with work and the podcast and everything, I was like, with what day, bitch? When are you going to do that, mate? When are you going to fit that in? But it gave me this different lease of life, and I know everyone says the same thing, and he's going, oh, he's being politically correct. No, I don't know what I'd do without it. Like, this morning I told you I was fuming that it was closed, and I'm fuming that they never sent a message to say it was going to be bank holiday Sunday hours. I've noticed if I don't go for even like I try not to have more than 2 days rest, because if I don't go for 2 days, I start noticing things slip, and like I start noticing I'm a little bit snappier. I can feel like my mood's not quite there, and it took a lot of work to not be a negative person.
It becomes a vice, doesn't it?
And I've got an obsessive personality. Hence the reason, like, oh no, just won't drink for a bit. No, cut the thing out. It's like if there's a dead piece to the cake, I always just chop it out. It's like it's got to go. You know what I mean? But I've worked very hard not to be an asshole. Don't get me wrong, I'm unapologetically me, and I say what's on my mind. If I've got to apologise, I'm man enough to be able to say, oh my God, I'm sorry, I hate your feelings. This is the way I meant it. But because I'm a scouser and whatever you want to call it, it came out this way, and I'm sorry that I hate your feelings. I'm man enough to say that, but I'm unapologetically me, and I'm glad that I'm not. I'm glad that I'm able to be a more sensible, level-headed person than I used to be, and I hate to think that I would slip back to being stupid.
There's two things there. First thing is, like, when it comes to exercise, it does become like crack to an addict.
Yeah.
Where we don't have that fix, we feel totally different. But that's a much better and less hard-hitting vice to have.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it can definitely be utilised in so many amazing ways. It can also be utilised in the wrong way, where it can become a massive addiction for some people, and then they end up falling down another spiral because they don't have any balance, and then they go from. I believe the medium for us is 80%, 100% of the time. Yeah. You have to have balance, like the Buddha talks about. You've got to have them walk the middle path, because if you don't, then you end up becoming the opposite way, and it becomes a negative. And then the second thing we spoke about was taking responsibility for your actions, and I think that for me has been something that I have worked on massively in the past 5 to 6 years, is just accepting that you're going to be wrong in situations, and sometimes you're going to act
very often.
Sometimes you might act emotionally and not realise that you've acted emotionally, and if you can be man enough to go, look, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you in that way, then that takes balls first of all, but it also gives you massive growth as a person, because we're going to make mistakes in life, like we're human beings.
I fuck up all the time, even still, like and you're completely right. It takes more of a man to be able to admit them things, but I wouldn't want to hear. I don't like to hear people's feelings intentionally. Don't get me wrong. If someone claps at me, I'll clap back harder than them. If someone comes to me, like I always say, don't come at me sideways with that elbow. Yeah, just things like that. Like I'm a Scorpio. Like I'm very fiery, and we've got Cypriot, Spanish, Turkish, everything in our bloodline. There's a lot of like. I feel like there's a lot of fire in there, but it takes a lot more control and a lot more. It's so easy to just say to someone like, you're a fucking helmet or whatever, but and it's quite actually fun, because I love the word helmet. I think it just makes me laugh. But I'd rather say something like just factual to them now, and then if they come for you, then you've got every right. But I think it's it's much better to just not take the high road, but stay above the fray. You know what I mean? But ownership and being apologetic when you need to be is a massive growth. And you said you've got 2 points. Third one, looking good naked. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, yeah, all the positives, like, from the mindset. I just spoke about them first, but there's no better feeling than looking good naked. Like, there is no feeling, because you're like, I done this to me. Like, I done this, like, me. You know what I mean? And
I couldn't agree more, to be honest. I mean, for me, it's been a little bit different, because I started CrossFit at a very young age, and obviously mine was about performance and not aesthetics, and aesthetics just become a byproduct of it. But I know if I look
accident
for sure, but I know if I look at myself in the mirror and I've not been as consistent with training, you can see the difference massively. And I think one of the biggest telltale signs of someone's personality is looking at them. If someone's in shape, you know that person has got discipline and they've got dedication to be able to maintain and look like that, especially with all of the indulgence and temptations around us at all times. I can always understand what type of person somebody is, or what attributes that person has, by just looking at what the body looks like. It's a telltale sign for a lot of people. You'd be surprised.
I feel like this is a boss little therapy session. I honestly feel like this whole situation here is like coming to fruition. Does that make sense?
For sure.
I'm like, I feel like I've been saved.
So speaking about routines and habits, what
Yes.
other routines and habits have you had to implement to stay mentally strong and grounded?
A lot of people have been ejected out of my life. Like, yeah, they just needed to go. And, you know, I think it goes back to, like, sometimes having the wrong people in your life goes back to that, what we said earlier about, you know, attracting the wrong person because you're not your true self, or because I've never wanted to fit in, but I feel it's like when it's in that situation, you sort of do attract the wrong people, and then when you're in with them, and then you go, they're not like aligned with anything. Like what was I thinking? You know what I mean? And or I'm starting to go down a different path with them. I think having the people around me was a massive thing to me.
Energy is contagious, isn't it?
It certainly is, and you know, and I don't knock any, like, we all have days where our energy is like squiff. Yeah, like squiffed. Or like off. I don't know why I've just said squiff, but it's the same thing, isn't it? That's a proper Scouse saying. He's proper squiff him. I think like your energy's off, and so it's not saying about that. It's just, especially with the wrong intentions. So for all these years, I've been very successful in hospitality, and I'm very grateful for it. And you know, I'm really good to people. I love people, but there's been a lot of people who've like sort of straggled on, and you know. And I've got them a whole career when they were like basically working in Tesco, which is nothing wrong with that, but gave them a career, and that was kind of why they were friends with me, and like, you know, and I'll never understand how you can keep that much of a front on for that long. You know, some people that have been mates with them for like well over a year, and then it sort of came to, and I've gone, whoa, you really aren't that person like that I thought you were, or blah blah blah. And you know, people might say the same thing in reflection to me, and I'm like, well, yeah, maybe I was wrong, because I was under the impression we were mates, but really you were just using me for a career or a leg up, or not leg up, that's the wrong one, a step up. I mean, sometimes it's leg up, but I think having knowing, you know, when you're surrounded, knowing the people around you, that's probably the biggest thing for me, structure wise in my life, but also routine. I love routine. Like, if I'm not in bed by a certain time, I get annoyed because I know the next day I am going to be one moody fucker. And no matter how much you get up, if you get up in the morning 4 hours sleep, no matter how much meditation and telling yourself that you're okay, you still feel like shit for the rest of that day. You've got to push through it.
That's when your energy's
off. Your patience gets tested. You know, like, you know, you've got to, you know, that saying, count to 10. I don't think it works either, by the way. You're like, I'm about 1 million by 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And routine is very important to me. So I like to, if I'm not training with my coach, which I normally train in the afternoon with him, I like to train at 6 in the morning. The gym opens at 6 for me, the Everlast in town. I like to be there at 6, and I like to have them full 2 hours. I don't train for 2 hours, but I count for half an hour for this, half an hour for that. And my day is like that. I put this in, half an hour here, half an hour in between, even though it takes me 15 minutes, just in case it's 15 minutes late. So routine is massively important to me.
And you stack on habits. That's so important though, isn't it?
Yes.
Because I've realised from speaking to like a lot of successful people in business and in so many different areas of life, that is one thing that stands out to me most, is their ability to be able to handle and maintain routines. For me personally, I'm autistic, so I've always had to have rigorous routines. I've got better now and I've got more balance, but rigorous routines to be able to survive. Because as an autistic person, and people will agree with me on this, we have to control our environment as best as we possibly can. We have to control, unfortunately, an environment that is impossible to control because external events we can't control. But if we can control our habits and routines, we feel like we've got this slight bit of control, which allows us to calm our nervous system. So I know exactly how important routine is.
Well, as a perfectionist and a neurotic control freak, I get it, because I feel like I don't like being controlled. I've never liked school, like authority figure. I've never liked it, because I don't like someone taking away my power. That, because sometimes your free will is the only power you've got in life. Like, so there's a lot more people, by the way, worse off than me, you know, and they've survived like monumental things which would crush most people. And I've spoke to them, and they've gone, no, the only thing that is my control over my life and my actions, and control for me is a massive thing. Like, things happen and it does knock you down, and I do hate it, I'm not gonna lie, but it took me years to hide it and do a poker face where I'm like, I actually don't want to smash something up because someone's took 1 hour out of my life, or like wasted an hour of my time, or whatever it is. But yeah, having that structure in my life, it definitely helps me, and I get so much done. Like I've got my fingers in about 5 projects, and having that structure is so important to me. It really is. It's probably more important than anything else.
For sure. So you've obviously had your struggles. If there's any advice that you give someone who's struggling in silence, what would it be that you would say to them?
Well, if you're struggling in silence, it goes back to what I said before. You've obviously got this wrong circle around you. You know, I feel comfy in my skin now, but when I didn't, and I didn't really know if I was coming or going, my best mate, who I've known for 30 years, Christina, she knows every single thing about me, and I've got a really good family, and they don't know everything, because some stuff I don't want my family to know, as you know. Sorry, Mum, but having a circle around that you can trust is paramount importance. That's probably first and foremost. If you can't talk to someone who's close to you, I mean, there's situations where I haven't felt like I could speak to anyone about something, or it took me a little while, but I know I've got them people around me. And
a problem shared is a problem halved, doesn't it? I speak about that a lot, like the importance of actually talking. I don't think people realise, like, when you keep something inside you, it ferments. If you can release it, even just a slight bit, by letting it come out into words, it actually starts to dissipate. And it starts to dissipate.
Oh, that's a good word. That I like that one.
That?
Yeah,
that's a big word as well. Dissipated.
Big words on May the 4th. I love this. No, but you're absolutely. I think you're absolutely right. 100%.
I think that's one thing I would say. Like, obviously, I'm 24. I've got a brother who's 18. I've got a sister who's 11. The generation of kids coming through, there's loads of negatives, but the positive is a lot of them do talk a lot more to the friends, and they're open about things. Like, for example, the sexuality thing. Like, my little brother, and that to them, someone being gay or bisexual is just a normal thing. It's not like really frowned upon really at all within them circles now, which shows there has definitely been growth.
Yeah, I mean, you got stoned to death if you were gay when I was in school. That's how, back in the 80s and 90s, mate. It's like, late 80s, by the way.
As the podcast with a guy called Ben, he's a gay lad, and he was born early 80s, and he was speaking about how difficult it was for him, obviously growing up in that environment, and how toxic it was. So there definitely has been growth. And then to come back to what we were saying in terms of like being able to talk about things, the next generation are getting better, which is a fucking massive positive. One positive out of a lot of negatives for sure. So looking at Craig Cavanagh now, you've got some exciting projects coming up.
I have, and just before we go into them, can I just say that he's the first person to ever get my name right on the show. It's normally Cavanagh, which is with a K. Come on. So yeah, first project I do want to speak about, and funnily enough, it goes back to the surname thing. So I'm in a series. I've just been cast in a series called Six Halves, Liverpool based. I'll tell you what I can tell you about it. So I'm going to play a gay cellmate, and I was originally only going to be in for a couple of episodes, but I've built my character with them, with Peter Sincere, and he's an amazing guy, and I mean, with Steve Carney, he was in the original Shooters, so he was like, we want you to be a gay cellmate, blah blah blah, and then I was like, so what's my name gonna be? Just asking a random question, and they're like, oh, most of the cast just keep the first name, and they did, and I was like, mate, I've been Craig for 40 years. I hate my first name, and I'll tell you why. Like, even numbers, and Craig's 5 letters. And I was like, yeah, all these, like, got all kinds in our family history tree, and you pick Craig, the most dull name. Like, you could have went with anything, like Spanish lads, Greek lads, anything. You went with that. I was like, I don't know what she was thinking, but anyway, I was like, can you just change my name? So they called me Kirk, and I was like, I'm CC. I've got to be KK. So I'm going to be Kirk Cavanagh. So I'm never going to get away from the surname mispronouncing. So Kirk Cavanagh, I was only meant to be in a couple of episodes. I'm going to be in all the way through now. And my backstory, I think I can tell my backstory. That's fine. Peter will be fine with it. So we did joke around saying that I went to jail for selling lemons at the back of Concert Square, Weatherspoons. But me character arc is built.
That's the scousest thing I've ever heard.
No, honestly, but it was like, I mean, there's some truth in a part because I did used to work on Weatherspoons. But anyway, we won't get into that. But so my character's built. We done our first read through last week and recorded it. He's very sassy. He runs the jail, put it this way, and he's got all the screws wrapped around his finger, and it's I don't find it hard to play that character. I'm not gonna lie, not because but I just think it's like not so. I've been channeling like I rewatched Queen of the South because I really loved like the impact that had in it, even though it's not really jail like driven. There's a lot of drugs in it, and I really like that Teresa in it. So I'm channeling her, the gay Cray twin, even though both of them are gay, I think. And obviously just being Scouse. So I'm channeling like 3 people when I'm doing it, but the read through went amazing, and it goes into production in July, and I think I come in August. So I couldn't be more gassed about it. Like,
where can we watch?
I can't tell that bit.
Okay, well that's exciting.
It's going to be everywhere though. So like, and I'm so excited. Like, there's got some radio stuff coming up as well, like to promote it. But I haven't done acting since I was in since we don't know times. Yeah, cause we don't acknowledge time. But it was many moons ago, probably college. No, did I do a bit after that? But it was more stage acting. So tonight I go to the Merseyside Acting Dance Academy. I'm starting a 10-week course with, I think his name's Danny, and just to do camera acting. Because even though used to be in cameras all the time, and I do love a camera. I'm not shy, but I want to smoke this show. I want to do this proud because like I love being a Scouser, but there's something about this now, especially this era in my life and everything that's past, and how I feel more free in life. I want to do this justice. I'm also going to be singing in it. They said there's a part where I'm just going to sing with it. Everyone's fighting, and I just start singing like, I think Ain't No Sunshine When She's Gone, and I was just like, I've got to come in.
Do we get maybe a little 2 seconds?
Maybe in a bit. But no, listen, I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna like, I've got to save you, like, and so I'm doing this 10-week course. It finishes just as we go into it. So and then I'm cutting now as well. So I've only got like another 4 kg to lose. So I was like, do I have to take me off? He was like, you don't have to use it. When I was like, no, I'm game. I'll be ready by then. Even though I look good, I look sound now, but I was like, yeah. And he was like, oh no, I just thought you meant. I was like, mate, I'm not shy.
At least it gives you some accountability with your training though as well. You've got a reason. I think accountability helps massively. Like, you've got a reason to lose them 4 kg. Makes it much easier to do so when there's actually a focus with it. But I think even
did I answer that question properly then?
Yeah,
as well, by the way.
Okay. I think how even I know what the name is, like, from just, and where that comes from just actually looking at the post you put up on your Instagram. I think majority, if not 99.9% of Scousers will also be interested in it because it's a funny line for sure. And I think as well, like, Shooters is mental. And entertaining as fuck as well.
Honestly, so I rewatched it because it was on Netflix. I might rewatch it again. I'm a bit obsessive like that. It was such an iconic film, and I actually can't believe that I've been picked for it. Like I am so gassed about it. Like, I'm like, what are the chances? Like, and you know, they couldn't, like, me first scene, everything that he says, that's something I would say. Like, it's very
relatable.
Yeah, it's something I would like. I think he's having banter it in I won't tell you too much, but there's like a visiting room, blah blah blah, and there's a bit of a quality, and what the comment he says back, I was like, did you write that? I think he wrote it before I've been cast, I'm pretty sure. And I was like, this person is like so close to my personality. Probably would have been me if I would have went the opposite way. And that's what I keep thinking. Oh, is this like a self-portrayal that's been put in my way to, like, say, this is what it could have been, you know, nothing, you know. I mean, you still got work to do, but at least you're not in jail.
Shows how much growth that you've had, though. So when does this come out?
It's probably going to be the top end of the year. I'd love it to come round. My birthday's in November, so I'd love it to come round.
Is it all Scousers?
Yes, all Scouse cast up to now. Up to now, it's all Scousers. But the read-through went I literally it couldn't have went any better.
Loads of the Scouse films and series are doing really well, aren't they? Like, what's that one? Go Ahead, which is like that's doing really well as well.
I had all them on I know Dylan, me, hi Dylan and his mum Kirsty, like I had all them cast on, the lovely group of kids. But I spoke to one of the writers, we spoke on Instagram, he was like, thank you for like putting them across in such a nice way, which I thought was really nice. I was like,
definitely,
mate, I just wanted to get this story, because I think the way they've done that show, it's more reality than reality Scouse shows that I've seen. It's like, it's more relatable,
way more relatable, and it's fucking funny as well.
And it's hysterical. And you know, like the two girls, I know them personally, but the way they are with the teacher, I'm like, that's just the way Scouse girls are with teachers. Like, they're so like back and forth, like confrontational, and there was just so much relatability. And This City Is Ours, killing it. And by the way, I love Steve Graham as well. Everything he does. I think he's an amazing writer. I think he's an amazing actor.
He's done so well for himself.
He's from Kirby, you know, he's a homegrown talent, and I just loved Scousers. Just seem to be smashing it at the minute. And,
in so many different fields, though.
Honestly, like I've known Molly. You know, Molly. I've known Molly since about 15, 16 years now, and she's killing it. Look at Paddy. Paddy's killing it as well. Like, there's so many Scousers doing so well, and I love Darren. I met Darren till years ago in Inkwar, and he's always been super sweet to me, and he's just a character. I love when I see a clip of him and he's just roasting someone, and you know, it's not, most of it's banter, but I just think he's got so much charisma about him. I love him.
To be honest, Darren is someone like I'm trying to line off of the podcast. We've got like a few contacts within the gym. We've got contacts with him, so that's hopefully you will see soon.
Darren's he's a good energy as well, you know, like he's good to be around. Yeah, I've got a lot of love for Darren.
And he's himself as well, though. And I think like for me, it's all about that. Like,
he's unapologetic. He doesn't care. He says it how it is, and he doesn't give a fuck. And I think that's why I've got admiration for him, because he just says it how it is.
This brings me like really well into my next question. Has there been any inspirations for you, like throughout your life, people that are role models that you've looked up to? I know you said that you've always been like free and you've always went against the grain, but is there anyone who stood out for you that was a role model?
Do you know, recently, so obviously, like obviously you get the singers, you know, I really admire my mum and dad, like they're huge things in my life, like that have changed things and shaped the way I am. But recently, I watched the Freddie Mercury movie. Now, there's a lot of comparisons. Yeah, I do look a bit like him. Yeah,
I was in Pikes last week and everyone was speaking about Freddie Mercury and his 2-week party.
Mate, listen, so listen to how scary this is, right? I'll tell you. So I watched this film and I found this new admiration for him. Like, obviously, it's not his actual story because he's not here anymore, but everything he went through, I wish I'd have known that years ago. Like, it was so relatable, his timeline, everything, and it was a really sad way for what happened to him at the end. He was such a talented human being, and amazing singer, amazing songwriter, and he's one of like my idols. Now, I always loved his music, but after watching that film, I was like, wow, I wish I'd have known this about him years ago. But funny story, so we got our genealogy done, and it turned, so my ancestors came from, well, someone did, because I always make a joke, like when I found out like how many, it was like the United Nations flag when we looked at it, and my mum was like exactly the same, and I was like, who slept with the maids, like, or who slept with like whatever, because like, how do we even have this many nationalities, blah blah blah. And it was a joke, by the way. So look back at it, and one of the maids is Iran, and around the Cypriot way, blah blah blah. So I was like, I said he was Persian, and I was like, Persian is Iran. I was like, whoa. So I put into ChatGPT like where I was from, where it comes from, blah blah blah. I was like, is there any way we could be related? And it was like, yeah, there's like, it's a very close, there's very close proximity to where you could be from the same village.
Wow.
And I was like, that makes total sense. And I put it on my story, and I was like, look at this. And like ChatGPT says it, blah blah blah. And I found a meme that I'd done years ago, and it was a picture of Freddie Mercury and me. And I put when the Snapchat filter comes off, and I put it on my story, and I found it on the set, and I was like, wow, what are the chances? But yeah, so he's probably him, love him. But massive song. I love George Michael. I think George Michael, he was another one who really inspired me.
Club Tropicana, what a banger.
Oh my, and that was routing the Pikes.
Yep.
So where you've just been.
Absolutely mental, by the way.
Pikes is one of the best place I've ever been to in Ibiza. Did you go in the bathroom?
That's where the party was.
Where the fellas DJing to the mirror, look at anyone.
And
With the
big
bathtub.
and a big ball pit.
Yes.
Yeah, we literally went to the bathtub party on Tuesday.
Mate, it was the best time ever.
It's insane, isn't it?
Yes.
It literally is insane. So look, this has been a great conversation. As you come towards the end, I wanted to ask you if you could ask my next guest a question.
Oh, okay. Who's your next guest?
I can't tell you that.
Okay.
That's what makes it much more fun.
Okay. Will you tell me after?
Yeah.
After this and after the question? Okay, go on. Oh, do you want me to? I'll think of one.
Yeah. We think of one.
Ooh, you put me on the spot there, and considering that I do this like all the time. Okay. Cut this silence out because this really looks really unprofessional. Okay. Is it can I ask is it a boy or a girl?
It's a boy.
What type of life did they live?
It's quite a deep life, to be honest.
Okay. What's the hardest thing that you've survived in your life, and how did you do it?
Love it.
Okay.
And then this question I've not asked for a while, but I think especially with someone like an aura like you, and how amazing your energy is. If there was a song that you could give somebody to give them a first impression of you, what would that song be?
Ooh, fuck. That's not the song. That is a really good question. Probably "Don't Stop Me Now" by Queen, you know. And the only reason why is because I like the flow of the song, the melody, and no one's ever really been able to. They might have halted me, but they've never been able to keep me down, and I've always like kind of rose back, and that's kind of what the song's like. "Don't Stop Me Now, I'm having a good time." Do you know what I mean? I think that's probably that song. Yeah.
I think that song shows that you can't be stopped, and that no matter what comes at you, if doors close in your face, you're gonna run right through them. And I think from the conversation we've had today, I've been able to understand that that's been a massive part to play in your life, is the relentlessness. Yes. And not being scared of what others think, and being able to run through that door. I want to say a massive thank you for coming on, and I've absolutely loved the conversation. If you enjoy the gang, please subscribe, and massive thank you to you. Mate, thanks for having me on. It's been a pleasure speaking to you, and I love your energy, and thank you so much. Thank you very much.